Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the TheP-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael. How we doing, dude?
We're doing all right. You know, things going on, but in terms of the sports world, Flyers got the overtime win last night. That was pretty cool. Vladar, the goalie, might look like a nice little addition. Might add some stability back there between the pipes for the first time in a while. Um, Joel Embiid played in his first preseason game in like multiple years, and we both agreed he looks quite skinny, and he also looks quite normal in terms of the way he's playing, way he's running, the way he was defending. There seemed to be no limitations other than just he wasn't going to play 35 minutes. So yeah, Sixers open in a few days. I think on Wednesday is the opener against Boston. Um, Nice to see the Flyers pick up a win. Uh, the baseball team, don't want to talk too much about them, but shocker, not like a ton is probably going to change, which is fine. Don't really want to open that band-aid up at the moment. We can do that later in the winter,
Well, it,
maybe.
it
We'll
sounds like
see.
to me the roster's going to change, but not the.
Not substantially, though, I don't think.
I don't know.
Maybe some players here and there, like Castellanos, but like Schwarber feels like he's back. Real Muto feels like he's back. And then potentially Bader. And then it feels like
Are
they
you
want to
saying that
trust.
you're saying that Real Muto and Shore were going to be back because no one in baseball wants to spend money?
No, not that. Well, maybe partially, but I just think the Phillies would look at themselves like, well, now what? If either of them walked and not really have an alternative that
Yeah,
makes
you
a
know
lot of
what? I
sense.
kind of want to. You know what? I kind of want to talk about this because
Okay.
this is a big topic going on in baseball. So there's going to be a lockout in 2027, barring like the commissioner actually trying to prevent it from happening. Like, we say lockout, like I think a lot of people don't understand that a lockout in baseball means that the owners don't want to play. They don't want to be open for business, and it's all
It's the
about.
only league where truly the players are not afraid to go on strike. When you consider all the other leagues where you don't see labor stoppages in the NBA, NHL, or NFL really ever. Like it's very rare. Where baseball, we literally saw one, what, 4 years ago, 3 years, 4 years ago, before the 2022 season. If we all remember that the season got pushed back a week, the all the
Right.
opening series got moved to the end of the year. Like we just saw one. So we know the players aren't afraid to do it, so that's why they're so palpable. But yes, ultimately, it falls on the responsibility of the owners not minding if they're open for business because they want a salary cap.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because they want a salary cap, and like I'm not here to defend the Dodgers because I don't like the Dodgers at all.
But how
But
can I be mad at them?
but the fact that a big reason why they are able to do what they do is because 70% of the league does not want to spend
Win,
money
win baseball games.
or
Like
win. Yes, exactly. So
I just had this conversation last night where it's like everyone loves that chart, and I like the chart, the revenue versus payroll, and then percentage of revenue that goes into payroll. And like obviously a lot of the small market teams are very bad at this, and good ones too, like Cleveland, like Milwaukee, teams that usually win but just aren't really dipping into their pockets. But then you see a couple big markets at the bottom there, the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, where it's truly a travesty how little they actually spend of their revenue into their team. Um, and then you want to look at the Dodgers and be like, well, okay, well, how did the Dodgers get these players? Player not like Freddie Freeman. The Braves didn't want to pay Freddie Freeman. The Atlanta Braves did not want to pay one of their all-time franchise historic Hall of Fame players when he hit free agency. and decided to go the cheaper, younger route and Matt Olson and be like, well, he'll basically be like Freddie Freeman. And like, not that Matt Olson has been bad in Atlanta, but like, okay, that opens the door for the Dodgers to not have to do anything but spend money in order to acquire him. They didn't have to trade prospects to the A's to go get Matt Olson. They didn't have to make any other different move. They just had to throw cash at Freddie Freeman. And now Freddie Freeman might be remembered as a Dodger more than he's remembered as a Brave when it's all said and done. You look at Mookie
Yeah,
Betts. The Red Sox didn't want to pay him a $300 million contract. So they took a trade of a prospect pool that was the equivalent to a bag of baseballs and Alex Verdugo. And the Dodgers went and paid him 300 something million. And now Mookie Betts might get remembered as a Dodger more than he's remembered as a Red Sox. And that's ridiculous. But that's just two of their best players. And then that doesn't also include Blake Snell, where the Rays and all the other teams he was on didn't want to pay him, but the Dodgers decided to pay him. Tyler Glasnow, the Rays didn't want to pay him, so they traded for him and they decided to pay him because the Dodgers like, why not? You cheap teams don't want to pay your stars. We'll take them and treat them real nice over here. Even Ohtani to an extent. If the Angels could have built a half decent team, he would have stayed. But their team was horrible, so he's up and out, and the Dodgers are going to go pay. I can't get mad at the Dodgers for just taking the way these teams are treating their star players like scraps, you know?
Michael, I agree because if you look at like the Red Sox, they made the playoffs, they lost to the Yankees in the wild card. Man, Michael, having Mookie Betts, he might have really helped the Red Sox.
Think about the 2021 Red Sox. They went to the ALCS on their fun Cinderella run with Kyle Schwarber and all those guys. Been real nice to have Mookie Betts there, wouldn't it have? Like, Jesus goodness. And it's like, where would the Dodgers have been if they hadn't been able to acquire Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman, or obviously Ohtani as of the last 2 years? It's hard to say. They'd have two rings and on their way to a third now.
Yeah, the big issue here, which we could see, a big labor stoppage here. Let's read between the lines with this. Is Major League Baseball owners, they want to cap the salaries of players. But they don't want to say that because if they do, Michael,
They'll never get anything done.
Well, no, their revenue has skyrocketed over the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in sports, when revenues go up, the players' salaries go up. Look at the NFL.
And it's still capped. The cap goes up.
Yes,
but
but that's the thing though, is that in baseball, their salary structure is way different. It's not conducive for a salary cap. Like if you look at teams like the Marlins, for example, half their roster are guys from their farm system and they're making nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're only like what would a salary cap in baseball look like? What would be the ceiling? What would be the floor? The key thing is that there has to be a floor in with every salary cap that there is existing in sports. And the big problem is if you want more competitive balance is to establish a floor. So, for example, like let's look at Ranger Suarez, for example. He's a free agent for the Phillies. Probably not going to be back. Realistically, he's not going to like the Marlins or the Pirates or I don't know, like the Royals. Like they're not going to spend money on a guy.
And
like
honestly, the Royals do sort of. I'm looking at that chart. They're like ninth in percentage of revenue. They spend over 50%. It's a team like the Brewers are not signing Ranger Suarez. You would think a team like the Red Sox should be all over Ranger, and maybe they finally do dip into their pockets a little bit, but they're like 23rd. The Chicago Cubs spend 36% of their revenue onto their payroll. That is asinine, considering the Chicago Cubs have the third highest revenue in all of baseball, behind only the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's crazy. That's craziness, but it's just it's so asinine because you look at teams like in the NFL where the Eagles in revenue, roughly, I looked this up yesterday, make like $688 million. And then you look at the NFL cap. It's like what, a little under 300 million is the
Mhm.
cap. The cap isn't even almost, it's not even close to half of what the Eagles make. Like Jeffrey Lurie can cover all expenses of like business side of things, contracts and employees and all this sort of stuff, and then be able to pay his full payroll of the players. And that's all taken care of with just how much you made the previous year. Like that's just handled on revenue. And then you also have like, whatever money he takes home and other sort of sponsorships that maybe don't go into that revenue pool, whatever.
Concerts.
Yes, oh my God, all of that sort of stuff. Exactly. And then you look at Major League Baseball, and the owner's problem is that yes, while revenues are going up because there's no cap, team valuations aren't skyrocketing like the NFL is. Jeffrey Lurie bought the Eagles for what, $185 million? And if you go check on Forbes to see their estimated worth at the moment, it's $8.3 billion, John. So that's pretty absurd. Um, Major League Baseball teams aren't seeing that sort of crazy growth despite their revenues going up because they don't have a cap. And it's because the players are seeing a lot of that money, which, by the way, not a bad thing, like at all. I don't think it's a bad thing at all when players' salaries go up, but the owners, like what they take home every year, doesn't go up a ton. I don't feel any of that. Who would I rather see get paid more money? The nameless, faceless owners of countless teams across the league, or the stars that are on the field every night that make the game enjoyable and entertaining to watch?
The reason to watch, the purpose of watching.
Absolutely, every single time.
Yeah, it's like
So
any form of entertainment. Like, are
are we
you
rooting for
look?
John Middleton on every night of the summer? Oh, go John Middleton, man! What a product he put out here. No, no, it's like
Yeah,
shawarma.
yeah, dude. It's like back in the day. If you're like a big Seinfeld fan and you're watching it, you're like watching the show, and you're like, man, I just hope Larry David just
Right,
like
right,
like
right.
what? Like no,
Exactly.
like
We
Michael,
love
like
Larry
80,
David.
like Michael, like if you watch like a baseball game, like if you watch like a Phillies game, I bet you like 30% of people that watch Phillies games don't know who John Middleton is.
Decent, decent. I'm sure some teams it's worse. Like John Middleton's like kind of in the news around here, and we know how crazy the fans are, whatever. But it's like I'm sure there are those middle of the pack fan bases that aren't necessarily like doom, or we all know who the Pirates owner is because Bob Nutting's a piece of garbage. But it's like the Detroit Tigers, like, or does every single one of their fans really in tune with who the hell the owner is? I have no idea who the Tigers owner is at all, and it's like they could spend some more money. Is it any surprise that when the Tigers were actually really good, they happened to have Justin Verlander and Miguel Cabrera, two of the greatest players to ever play the sport? And now when they're not and they're just trying to grind off the margins, they're this scrappy team that falls up short like every single year. What, what are you supposed to do? I don't know.
I
It's
just think
it's
it's
very
hilarious.
frustrating.
It's yeah, like that's the thing is like I think when you have a cap, then you can kind of like sort of like in the NBA, you can kind of maybe create like ceilings for contracts like there is in the NBA.
Yeah, like you can only sign this max. Sure, sure.
Right. But at the same time, like I feel what would a cap be like in baseball?
That's what I'm saying too. Like
Like what are you gonna say? 200 million when the
the
Dodgers have
highest
five?
luxury tax threshold, I think, is like $304 million currently. So you're just gonna make that the cap?
And that, but then here's the kicker though. Let's say that there's a cap and the Phillies can't re-sign their guys, right? Because they're
Yeah, the
capped
Phillies
out.
are the Phillies are 45 million into the luxury tax. So
Right.
it's
Let's
like,
say they're
okay, we got to
capped out,
shred that
right?
salary.
Right. They're capped out. Like Schwarber goes in free agency and he gets offered $15 million a year because of the
Cap.
whatever, because of the cap. Like that's what's gonna cause the that's what's gonna
Right.
cause labor stoppages because
Yeah.
a labor stoppage because going back to John Middleton carries the same amount of weight with his vote as like the owner of the Marlins. And it's like,
Dude, the Marlins spend 27% of their revenue into their payroll.
yeah, they're pocketing the revenue sharing. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
and that's another big issue. So basically, the issue in baseball is the economic inequality isn't because the Dodgers choose to spend their revenue versus like
Teams
a team
are pocketing the cash. They're
that are
pocketing
pocketing
it.
the luxury tax money. So
Yeah.
again, it's super hypocritical for a team like the Marlins to complain about the Dodgers when they are profiting more off the Dodgers spending money going over the luxury tax.
I was trying to figure out because if you do a salary floor, you're not gonna be able to do a hard number because teams' revenues are just way too all over the place where it wouldn't be fair to force like, some teams barely are cracking 300,000,000 in revenue. If you're making the floor like, "Oh, we have a floor of $150,000,000," something like that, where it just something like that can be kinda hard. So it would have to be a percentage of revenue is the floor model. Like, okay, we need to pick a percentage, and looking at where the bulk of the teams spend, most of them are at 45%, which I still think is low. I think you should, like I really think the floor should at least be 50%. Like, how can
I
you not
agree. I
be
was going to
throwing
say
50?
50 or like
But let's even
52.5% or
humor
something. Because
right,
that,
let's
that would
even
require all those teams to keep a big
try.
keep a big name player as opposed to trading them to the Dodgers or the Phillies or the Yankees,
Yankee or the Mets.
or go out and sign free agents, right? Because that's where I think
If
I
you
think
start winning, your revenue is gonna jump a little bit, like, it just is.
well,
You
not
think
just
the
that.
Phillies' revenue has been this high pre-2022?
That
Definitely not.
well, this is another big thing too, though, Michael, is that in baseball they're trying to compete with the NFL. I would say of the three major leagues in this country, that's not the NFL. Baseball, I think, is the most popular of the three
In the US,
in the United
sure.
States.
The
In
M
the
the
United,
NBA still has some pull, but they have their own issues for sure.
right? Their issues are totally like they're different.
Very
I
commissioner
think
driven, their
baseball thinks
issues.
if they create a cap, then I think they're gonna be like, oh man, like we could like in the winter, like when the NFL is kind of going on, we can kind of have the thing the NFL
The
does.
free agent frenzy.
Yes, they want the free agent frenzy. Oh,
I hear you.
if we have a cap, that means that when we do the draft, now it's going to be even more important because if you're capped, then teams are going to like now it's like this is really important. The draft's going to be way more important. They're trying to basically take things the NFL does, it has a lot of success with,
Absolutely.
and try to like bring it to baseball and to build the sport more. And listen, man, I would love if baseball had a free agent frenzy, but there isn't a free agent frenzy anymore like there was like previously because the owners are cheapskates. That's what it comes down to. And they don't want
Mhm.
to admit it. And honestly, they think we're stupid. Like we don't, like we can't read, like we're illiterate.
Yeah, once you really get on the understanding, like, what the big thing that I think is, like, opening some people's eyes is that not even 24 hours after the best team in baseball gets embarrassed and swept in the NLCS, Milwaukee Brewers,
The
you're
best
getting
team
trade
in
rumors.
baseball.
Best record in baseball. You're getting trade rumors for their ace because they have an $8,000,000 club option that they're not looking to pick up next year. That is the problem. The problem is not the Dodgers doing a deferred money contract. The problem is that a team that won 97 freaking games has their 30-year-old ace pitcher coming off a great season, $8,000,000
He's
club
gonna finish.
option,
He's gonna be a runner up for the Cy Young.
and you're not just blindly signing that check of, like, obviously, and if we wanna trade him and that's even if you still really wanna trade him, you can do that, and someone else will just take on the club option as opposed to, like, just trying to do it in the it's just dumb. It's very, very stupid. So back to last point on the salary floor, we looked at a team like the Cubs because the Cubs are the biggest offender of this, they make like $585 million in revenue, and their payroll is only 36% of that. And if you up it to 40, even 45%, even 45%, they would have to add an additional $180 million in payroll. Could you imagine how much better the Cubs would have been if they had $180 million more worth of players on their team? It wouldn't even be close. Are you kidding me? If they found, you know, a way to spend the 185 this offseason, like you're telling me the Cubs couldn't have been as all in on Juan Soto as the Mets and Yankees were? They have that money sitting around. It's not like it was they were totally priced out. They totally had that money they could have spent. Or some of the relievers that the Dodgers signed. Granted, they didn't all work out, but maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they do end up working out. Why didn't they make a bigger push for Roki Sasaki? That sort of stuff. And we're gonna sit here and watch them let Kyle Tucker walk out the door for nothing. So it's just embarrassing, certain teams. But alas, enough of the baseball rant. When the strike comes in 2027, we'll all be really sad because certain Phillies players will be retiring and old, and it's just not going to be fun. Anyways, um, it's 9:20. We have a London game in 10 minutes kicking off. Do we want to hop to that to quickly pick that and then do the picks?
Yeah, I agree. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
All right. So in London, across the pond, the Los Angeles Rams are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Weird quirks about this game is obviously we all know that London is the home away from home of the Jags. They're there all the time. They play well out there, all that sort of good fun stuff. The Rams, we all know they just played the Baltimore Ravens this week, past week, slugged out an ugly win. And instead of going back home, they decided to stay in Baltimore for the week and
Yeah, that
practice
was a
in
really
Camden
surreal
Yards.
picture. Them, I was just that was a pretty surreal
Yeah,
picture
the football field in Camden
because I
Yards.
didn't
Very
realize they were
strange.
in Baltimore at first, and I was like, is that the warehouse behind right field in Camden Yards? I'm like, oh my god, they are in Camden Yards.
Yeah, yeah. So they stayed in Baltimore to practice, I guess, so they didn't mess up their time zones as much. I don't know. Feels a little trying to do too much. And also the biggest storyline with this game is Puka Nacua is injured and is out. Seemed like it was
Yes,
serious.
I am
Turned out it
streaming
wasn't.
Jordan Winnington fantasy because Egbuka's hurt, Zay Flowers is on a bye, and Jacoby Myers is a game time decision, and he's
Yeah, a
not
lot
very.
of lot of banged up receivers this week. That's for sure.
And I'm trying to get real creative here. Like I'm flexing Michael Mayer because I'm like somebody on the Raiders has to catch the
I mean,
ball.
I picked up Chris Moore because Puka's out, Calvin Ridley's out. Um, who else just went down? A lot of injuries in the fantasy world, a lot of bye weeks at this time, so you got to get creative. Um, so yeah, no Puka for this game. The Rams are still 3-point favorites though in London, and I'll be honest, I kind of like the Jags to begin with, even with Puka, but I still probably would have leaned Rams. But no Puka, dude. The Jags defense, what they lead the league in turnovers. Like, I just think that it's going to be a tough. Like, it was tough sledding for the Rams on offense last week against the Ravens defense, which couldn't stop a nosebleed for the previous month. And this Jags defense is actually good and has some serious playmakers on it. I'm gonna take the Jags plus a field goal, +3, and like I'm gonna consider putting them uh in a money line if I quickly place something else. But I do already have them +3 in one of my parlays, so I'm taking the Jags.
I'm taking the Jaguars as well. I saw a TikTok about I forget what it's called. It's like the not reverse theory, but it's like here's the scenario. It's like Rams cover the spread against the Ravens on the road. The Jaguars lose after a gritty win against the Chiefs.
Lose outright, yeah.
History is like the Jags are either going to win or cover this game. That's kind
Yeah,
of
it's
how.
it's it's everyone like Jags coming off that crazy win. Everyone gets in bed with the Jags last week and bets them heavy, and they lose, and it's like, uh-oh, that blows. So now, after a disappointing loss, you watch the Rams, who covered, but covered in an ugly way against Baltimore. Everyone's going to be trying to get involved with the Rams on a like on a small line of only three, against the Jags. And
Right. If you look at the Rams the previous week, they lose a tough game to the Niners.
right,
Really tough loss. You
yeah.
know, I'm going with I agree with you. I'm going with the Jags here.
Uh, this next this next game takes us to the biggest line of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs, maybe the best 3-3 team ever, and they
Wow,
are at
that's
home against
one way to put it, I suppose.
against the Raiders. They're 11.5 point favorites, always a huge favorite for a divisional matchup. But Chiefs are cooking, man. They are really cooking. They played really well against the Lions. They took advantage of that beat up secondary and kind of shred it. Um, you know, they finally are going to have their full slew of receivers
Right.
today.
We're very curious to see what they said they're going to basically feed Rasheed Rice the ball because he's not coming off an injury. He's
Yeah,
coming off
no, he's coming off a
suspension.
suspension, right? So
He's
he's
coming
not
off
like doesn't need
suspension.
to work up it to anything. He's been running
Right.
around,
Yeah, they're
whatever.
not. He's
So
not being ramped up like someone like a Chris Godwin was with the
right, right.
Buccaneers.
I
Right.
think I got to just take the Chiefs minus 11.5 and hope. The spread on Vegas Insider is pretty split, 52-48 in slight favor of the Chiefs, but that's a pretty even divide. I guess I just gotta close my eyes and take the Chiefs and I hope they blow them out. It feels like the Chiefs haven't it really feels like the Chiefs haven't blown a team out in, like, 3 years at this point. Even the Lions game wasn't totally a blowout, and this feels like it could be, like, Mahomes
Yeah,
slinging it all over the
I'm
field.
going with the Chiefs as well. I mean, what are your thoughts on the I sent that video of Craig Carton saying the biggest NFL scandal was them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was absurd. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like I watched someone talk about. Like they were saying that the NFL made the call to reverse it. Like in other words, the NFL got lucky because the rule, which like nobody knows, is when you run that type of play, the
If
quarterback
you wanna throw the ball to the quarterback and they start under center, they need to come set and line up as a wide receiver. But if they're in shotgun, they can be in motion. But if they're which makes sense, by the way. Like, think of a running back next to the quarterback in the shotgun. He can be running laterally by the time you snap the ball, and it's like, you don't have to snap the ball to the quarterback when he's in shotgun. We see direct snaps to the running back all the time, So, that all that makes sense, but apparently, Roger Goodell called in to the officials and said, "Hey, let's fake this rule because we need the Chiefs to win this week." What are we talking about? Truly was asinine coming from Craig Carton. But regardless,
I would agree. I just think it's hilarious that now like there's people who it's basically the contingent, the extremely vocal minority who bet Jared Goff first touchdown for some weird reason.
well, Jameer Gibbs didn't get in, and I was very upset after that,
Yeah.
as we almost hit the lottery, John. Um, but unfortunately, his 10 touches in the first drive didn't result in a touchdown. God. Anyways, um, we'll talk a little bit more about the Lions later, but we have the Dolphins and the Browns in this next game. Yeesh.
Oh,
Everything is that
are you
weather as
saying
bad as it was made out to be? Like
so
people are making this
I have the
weather to
Palm
be
Beach post I have the Palm Beach Post pulled up. This is as of 8:21 a.m. this morning. It was written
oh wow.
by yeah, so this is like an actual like news source. This isn't like the Daily Mail or something. Yes, Michael, you are correct. This is as bad as everyone is saying it is. It's in Cleveland. Rainy, windy conditions and temperatures in the low 60s, dropping as the game goes on with wind conditions of 25 miles per hour and gusting. It feels like it's in the 50s. The
I
Dolphins
mean,
practice with wet footballs during the week to imitate the conditions in Cleveland.
I'm sure Tua
Michael,
had an awesome week of practice.
Michael, this is one of my most degenerate things I've ever done with the parlay. I'm going to read you this parlay I cooked up. Feel free to tail it if you'd like.
I just like.
It involves this game, and
I'm sure it does.
I think you probably know where I'm going with this.
Does it involve the quarterbacks?
Oh, it most certainly involves the quarterbacks, Michael. It most certainly involves them.
Uh,
By the way, when's the last time two left-handed quarterbacks faced off against one another in
it's
an NFL?
genuinely maybe never. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Like Michael Vick and
Matt Leinart, did they play against each other?
I think Mike Vick might have been in jail when they would have to play one another, I suppose.
All right, Jonathan
That
Gannon.
sounds really messed up, but maybe.
Okay, Gannon.
I know. No,
Dude, that was one of the funniest. When
dude,
was
that
the
was
last
like the
time
greatest.
you
That
took
was the
your
most awkward
emotion?
way to end a press conference ever.
When did you realize you got to take the emotion out of like quarterback decisions or whatever? And he's quarterback went to jail in '07, and I was like, wait a minute, he was in Atlanta? And I looked up, he was like a quality control assistant or something in
He was probably like out of
2007.
college, and
It
he's
was
like,
his first. Um, it was his first professional football job. He went from a Louisville student assistant, Louisville grad assistant in '06 to the 2007 Atlanta Falcons defensive quality control coach, which, by the way, in 2007, how young? Like, he was born in 1983. He's 42 right now. How old is he in '07 there? 24?
25.
Jesus Christ, 24, 25 years old? My
Yeah.
God.
All right,
Anyways,
I have the parlay pulled up.
yeah, what do you got?
Under 36 and a half.
Oh, such a low line. My God.
Dylan Gabriel under 179 and a half passing yards.
Okay.
Tua Tagovailoa under 192.5 passing yards. Jalen Waddle under 58 and a half yards.
Okay, everybody's
Jerry
getting involved.
Judy, Jerry Judy under 35 and a half receiving yards. Isaiah Bond under 23 and a half receiving yards.
Dude,
Devon Achane
over.
under 30 and a half receiving yards.
That's the only one I'd worry about is that
Darren
Tua, like,
Waller. Darren Waller under 32 and a half receiving yards.
yeah, is there more? Harold Bannon?
Oops, I forgot I put under 30 and a half alternate points. $25 pays
Oh,
out $1,305.37.
hey, listen, man. Crazier things. My
Like
only
if it's
worry
like
is that
nothing at halftime, I'm gonna
you're,
be
you're
very
what's the
invested.
what's that cash out looking like?
Right.
But no, it's you're like a Tua knuckleball like 2.5 feet away to Devon Achane, and he like makes three people
Well, no,
miss
you're
away
also
from everything going to
let
shit.
me put it to you a different way. What if Miles Garrett just like creams to it and he's out of the game? Everyone
That's a
complains
hell of a
about
start. Listen, John, they're like a scoreless first half away from Shador being in this game too, on the other side. So like this is certainly, if there's ever a game to do it. All this to be said, I think I'm gonna just take Cleveland minus 2.5 because the Dolphins can't play when it's like 60 degrees and sunny, let alone when it's this. So I just find it very hard to believe they're going to be ready to play in the slightest. And again, not that the Browns are any good, but their defense is solid. So yeah, it's just I can't trust the Dolphins in a disgusting weather game. I'll take the Browns minus 2.5.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm actually going to take the Dolphins for
I
a
mean,
couple.
you're just betting on a tie, so that's also what you're doing. That's the game ends in a tie line.
Right, and what the Dolphins are getting points, so yeah,
Oh, they'd cover.
they,
They
no, they
cover.
cover. Yes, no, so
A
no.
6-6 tie, that'd be
I
awesome.
feel like the Dolphins have been very close to winning a game, and
They have been.
I think with Cleveland right now, I wonder
I
Like,
think this is the game that gets Mike McDaniel fired. And then the Dolphins, you can lock them next week with the interim coach cheese.
by the way, did you see? I guess we'll talk about this team when they come up.
Yeah.
But I sent you that list of potential head coaches for the Tennessee Titans tweet.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think I tweeted there said Cam Ward, they're literally trying to
They're trying to,
sabotage his
yeah,
career,
they're trying to end it now, right before it gets started.
which I think is a great
Right.
segue into our next game, Michael. The New England Patriots travel to Nashville, Tennessee to take on the Tennessee Titans. Michael,
This is a tough one, man, because that interim coach
I
cheese.
the interim coach cheese. I call it like interim coach voodoo magic.
It is voodoo magic, but I just heard someone call it interim coach cheese, so now it's like my vocal stem. Um, but yeah, I agree. It's a tough one because Drake May and the Patriots are absolutely like cooking
Cooking.
these days. Drake May looks all
Your microphone got muted. You're muted. I'm guessing your headphones burned out.
I no, that was weird. Regardless,
Sorry.
we're
So
good.
what were you saying before you got cut off?
Uh, Drake May is looking awesome, and he is in uh, fourth place in the MVP odds right now
Mhm.
that I'm seeing, and you know, this is a this is such a perfect like letdown spot for New England. But
I 100% agree with you. I do
dude, I
find
can't keep taking the Titans. I keep taking them every week, and they suck. They suck so hard. No Calvin Ridley, so in theory, they should actually be better because he's been awful. But that receiver room, dude, is so terrible. If like Milton Williams and I'm blanking on the other defensive tackle can generate a lot of pressure up the middle, like Cam Ward's going to be in hell. Poor Cam Ward, man. Like he's this is a we
Christian
talk about
Barmore.
worse situations and stuff, and it's like I didn't think the situation was this bad, but then you're watching it play out and you're like, ugh, you just get so disgusted. I'm gonna take New England and just hope I don't get burned.
I'm gonna
Minus a touchdown.
I'm gonna take the Titans. I think they're gonna cover. I saw you saw it last week with New England in New Orleans. You know, like New Orleans is also a really bad team,
Hmm.
and there was some ref cheese in that game too.
Yeah.
There was some cheese as well. Um, this really does feel like the alarms are sounding off that this is like the letdown spot for New England.
Hmm.
I know New England has a very easy schedule, which look, they were in last place. Like people complaining about their schedule. They were
I mean,
in
this is a classic fourth place schedule. Like this is just what happens. It's like, and it's a fourth place schedule that it happens to be falling on um the year that the AFC East plays the NFC South. You know, they're playing the NFC South and they're playing the AFC North in a year where
no Burrow, no Lamar.
Lamar and Burrow are just destroyed, and it's like, yeah, man, their schedule's going to look really easy. It just eh, someone's got to play the NFC South every year. I don't know what to tell you. Like that division is always going to be kind of ass, and like that's just what it is. Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, on to our next game. I just pulled up the London game,
Oh,
and
do we confirm that the Titans are locked in for me?
yes, Titans locked in.
Okay.
They painted the Jaguar at the 50-yard line, and it always looks disgusting in these games. It looks dreary. I mean, the camera lens on the spider cam is completely soaking wet. Like this is just disgusting. Anyways, next game we have, speaking of the NFC South, Chicago Bears are hosting the New Orleans Saints. 3.5 point line. A lot of people are on the Saints. It does feel like the Saints aren't that bad. Isn't that strange? It feels like they're not
Well,
as
Michael, if you look
awful.
at their roster, they don't have an awful roster. Like it's a
But they
bad
just play
roster,
up
but like
to.
if you compared their roster to the Titans roster, then you're like, yeah, the roster's garbage. Maybe Kellen Moore is a better coach than
Than we
we
gave him credit for.
gave him credit for.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. Like Spencer Rattler, dude,
The Rat.
definitely not the worst quarterback in the league. And like I could have believed that in the
Yeah, you know,
offseason.
I think Spencer. I said this last year. I said it I said it going into this year. I think Spencer Rattler can definitely have a career arc like a Tyrod Taylor or like a Jacoby Brissett
Can he have like a
or like a Case Keenum potentially.
Sam Darnold? Like, can it be better than that?
Nah. Well, so Rattler to me, he's like a poor man's Baker.
Um,
Like he does a lot of Baker Mayfield things, but just not as good as he does. And
yeah.
I do think Kellen Moore is really like maximizing his skills.
Hmm.
You know, I think he wants him to be like, oh, here's a better comp. This is maybe more realistic. He's like Timu Dak. When you watch him play, it's similar to Dak, but he's just not as good. He's like obviously way worse. But that's not a bad quarterback. Like that's not a
I mean,
terrible
Dak's quite a
quarterback.
good quarterback. So if you're
That's not a
Timu,
terrible quarterback.
no,
So
not at all. He's just better. He's just better than I thought he was. And
like if you put the
like
Rat
I
Man,
love taking
if
the
you put
Bears.
the Rat Man on like the 2016 Dallas Cowboys, are we like, oh, Spencer Rattler's not that bad? Like I thought he was going to be garbage. Like
Listen, you ask some fans around the league. You put Spencer Rattler on the Eagles, he could have won a
wow,
Super
that's
Bowl.
probably the dumbest what if of all time. That is the dumbest.
Anyway, no,
That
but
is so bad.
looking at the Bears side of things, I love taking the Bears. I think I may have taken the Bears every single week this year, and it's like I don't know. It's my belief system of I really like Caleb Williams, and I hope he plays well. And I love Roman Dunze. Like so many things I like about them. But to me, dude, this screams, it shrieks, it's from the mountaintops. A a letdown, like not necessarily a
Yes, because the
loss, but it's
Chicago
like,
Bears.
dude,
The
they're coming
Chicago
off the
Bears.
two greasiest wins ever. Two back-to-back 25-24 victories. There's no way that's ever happened in the history
The
of the sport.
cardiac Cubbies.
Listen, there's no way that in the history of the NFL, a team has won 25-24 in back-to-back weeks. Just 0% chance that's occurred. And,
That's a
they
sport.
did it with some field goal luck going their way
Is that a
twice.
resultagami? Because it's like two of that.
It's something. It's some sort of uh, gummy. But I I'm gonna feel like such an idiot to take the Saints plus 3.5 if the
Why?
Bears end up just kind of rolling them. Is that weather in Chicago like gross? It's got to be right if Cleveland's getting it
Oh, you're
bad.
going for the dome team angle. That's a very good.
Like that, yeah. That's like my oh, dude. It's
Rainy night ahead. Hopes to clear out.
rainy. It's gonna be cold. Give me the Bears, man. Gotta trust the Bears.
I'm going with New Orleans. Getting the points. I could see it being. See, here's the thing though with this Bears team, Michael. They're laying
Like
five
it
and a
could
half
just be a
points.
field goal. It's 3.5.
Like,
Three
I
and a
don't
half.
think this Bears team. Listen, they're way better under Ben Johnson than they were under Eberflus. Like, that's
Of
not.
course.
I am not saying that. Like, I'm not saying that like Ben Johnson's bad. It does feel like Caleb's done a very good job managing the game. I feel like with this Saints defense, he might be due to have a clunker, especially with bad weather. This feels like it's gonna be like a slog fest.
I agree. It could be a
Like
Bears game-winning field goal and the Saints
like
cover the three
like
and a half.
17-16 or something like that.
Another 1 game.
Like just an ugly
I'm not disagreeing with you.
like this is Bears football. Like
Yeah.
this is definitely like Bears football.
So you're taking the Saints plus three and
Yeah.
a half. All right. Next game, Eagles Vikings. We'll skip for now. Panthers Jets. God, you know, the Panthers are 1.5 point favorites. This line is swung. When this line opened, if it finished like this, the Jets would have been the first 0-6 team to be favored ever. Wouldn't that have been hilarious? And it's like, dude, the Panthers, everything's all sunshine and rainbows for them coming off that Cowboy win. Everything feels great. Everything feels awesome. No one can bet the Jets with a 10-foot pole after their performance overseas last week.
Did you
Justin
see like
Fields.
this is the first time the Panthers have been 500 in like 4 years?
I also saw a crazy stat that the Panthers are they have the longest winning streak of losing outright as a favorite going at the moment, which that's
Mm.
pretty crazy. They're 1.5 point favorites. Dude,
Don't say the
I'm
dude.
I'm
No,
taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets. They gotta win. They gotta
no.
win eventually, right? They gotta win eventually. And it's a shame because the Panthers, they get Coker back, and I think that could be a really nice connection. I've been stashing him on my fantasy bench all season, just praying for like him to go save Bryce Young. But I think I'm gonna take the Jets and pray.
This is just slop, man.
It is. There's a lot of slop this week. There is a lot
So
of slop. Dude, the Jags. Oh wow, touchdown. Who was that? Mumfield
what for the Jags?
for the Rams? Mumfield.
That's like their third string tight end?
No, it's a receiver. This dude's like 5'9" looking. Number 15 looks very small. First of all, the Jags, I feel like every play have blitzed, and Stafford floated a nice pass. Yeah, Mumfield. First touchdown. Do you think anyone took it?
I'm gonna say no.
So who are you taking in this slop fest?
Um, like realistically, like you should do the Jets. Like you should pick the Jets because like what? Like you brought up some very good points,
Some cool stats I learned
some
about the
cool
Jets.
stats. It should be the Jets though, right? Like here's the thing though, like what if we just take the Jets, right? Like I'm gonna go with the Jets as well.
Okay.
And then like Justin Fields just literally throws like 5 interceptions. Like that can happen.
It does, but it's such a different game this
Like
week.
when
You know, they
Justin
played
Fields
Denver
drops back,
last
when
week.
Justin Fields like drops back to pass, like I feel like you're too young to remember this when like you had dial up internet, it would like your computer would make this noise, like that noise that goes on in his brain when
Yeah,
he's trying
the
to. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
he's
yeah.
trying to like read defenses. It's so bad, dude.
That's
Like,
that's one
like
of
he
them.
gets like he had like 9 seconds to throw in the Broncos and he got sacked. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, that ferocious Denver pass rush!"
I mean, one of the worst stats ever is having as many completions as times you were sacked. That could be like that's probably the worst stat ever to have as a quarterback. And that's what happened.
And it's
So
like his fault. It's not like people are like, "Oh, that Jets O line's bad." Like you didn't
no,
watch
it was probably
the game.
like of the nine, probably like six of them were him just hanging on to that ball a little too long. Yeah. Next game, potential game of the week. Uh, One of my favorite games. Very excited to watch this one. The Indianapolis Colts take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this is like it feels like no one can get the feels like no one's going to get the Chargers right. You
No,
know, they take them on a short favorite at home against the Commanders, and they lose outright. They take them last week as another short favorite against the Dolphins, who seemingly can't do anything right, and they
Chargers are
only win
getting
by a
Quentin
point.
Johnston back, but Joe Alt is
I mean, their line is just still depleted. And listen,
Yes.
they're 2.5 point favorites at home against the Colts. Dude, the Colts are like legit good. They can run the ball really effectively. Jones is finding the right guys. Obviously, he's still Daniel Jones, but um, you know, Spain Steichen's got them cooking. Their defense is like solid. It's one of those things where you know what their defense is like? The defense is very similar to the Rams, where it's like they're getting some pressure with the front four, but their back seven is kind of horrible. But it almost doesn't matter because if your D line can carry enough, you can really do some good damage control against that. And
Very Jim Schwartz Eagles
like, dude,
like
the Rams, yeah, dude, the Rams have awful linebackers and not a good secondary whatsoever. And they're very much fine
yeah,
because of it.
Derwin James is. Are you talking about the Colts or the
Colts,
Chargers?
some of the Colts, some of the
Oh,
Colts. And it's like, and they're still able to cook defensively at times. So I'm gonna take the Colts plus 2.5. I just think they're good. Like I think they're actually a good team where the Chargers I think are just way too battered.
yeah. I'm taking the Colts as well. After that's, I mean, here's the thing though. I don't know. So the Colts had a massive scare last week against the Jacoby Brissett led Cardinals, right? They've been
Mhm.
kind of teetering on like on another loss. And look, I had this weird feeling like I don't know. I don't bring up like college football. We don't really talk college football much on the show unless we're talking about the draft, right? I'm surprised like Jesse Minter, the D coordinator for the Chargers, has not been mentioned as a potential head coaching candidate for Penn State at all.
Mhm.
Because one, he's familiar with the Big Ten. Two, you fired Franklin because he's an awful coach. So you'd assume you want to bring in a very good like scheme guy, particularly on defense, right?
Mhm.
And three, he's a former Michigan guy, so you could probably pick off potentially people from Michigan and hurt one of your
Sure.
biggest
No,
rivals,
that makes sense
right?
strategically.
I'm gonna say I'm taking the Chargers, and my like hot
Ah.
take of this game is gonna be people are gonna be like, you're gonna see Chris Sims at like 7:30 tonight be like, oh yeah, Jesse Minter, like he's gonna be the hottest coaching candidate, you know, sort of
Yeah,
like McDonald was with the Ravens a couple years ago.
right.
Everyone's gonna be on Jesse Minter. Like I'm
Sure.
surprised more people don't talk about him, especially like do you remember last year we looked at the Chargers defense and we're like, oh, like they got Khalil Mack, he's like 85 years old, and I don't know that half these guys, and they were like a top 10 defense,
This
right?
is Khalil Mack was making some problems before the injury. No, I hear you.
Right.
I
But
hear
it's
you.
like, well, it's just like Derwin James and like a
Yes.
bunch of
No,
people
their
we
their
don't know.
their defense is definitely it's definitely carrying them with the injured offense. Dude, this next game is so weird. Excuse me. The Broncos are hosting the Giants. Weird Twitter feud trash talking going on. Giants fans really walking around like their poop don't stink after giving us a spanking. And I get it, but my lord, this feels like a Broncos demolition, right? Like everyone is loving the Giants right now. Everyone's loving Jackson Dart. Everyone's loving Cam Scatterboo, and it's just like they're still bad. They still blow. Like I think no Malik Neighbors. Like I can't. They're just not going to have this much success throwing
If
the
you
football.
know
I
what
believe.
this kind of feels like to me, Michael. This feels like you saw how like reckless with his body Jackson Dart was.
Yes.
Sean Payton, who was suspended entire season
I
for
know
putting
it's
hits out on opposing players, might tell his guys, he's like guys, Scattaboo and Dart don't are so reckless with their bodies. It's like if they're gonna be that stupid, he's like just kill them, just and no
hit him
one's gonna
hard.
bat and no one's gonna bat an eye at us because they're just reckless.
Yeah. No, they're totally reckless. I don't disagree. Yeah, I'm taking Denver -7. It feels like the Broncos like they won. that game against the Chargers, and then they go down to New Orleans and lose and turn the ball over a ton. They beat the Eagles in a dramatic blowout fashion, and it just feels like going over to Denver, even on the mini bye, is a tough ask. Even if the Giants' defense plays pretty decently, I just think
I
the
feel like the Giants
Broncos'
defense,
defense is gonna
honestly, I
dominate.
feel like the Giants defense, you talk crap on this guy all the time. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You ignored
Ooh.
saying his name. Yep, you ignored saying his name.
Oh.
When you've crapped on Bo Nix the last 2 weeks, at the Eagle game, as soon as you start crapping on him, he had a 152 quarterback rating in the fourth quarter. You crapped on him last week, and then they somehow, like Justin Fields, has
Oh, he did not play well against the Jets, though. We can't give him credit for that victory.
hey, quarterbacks are a win stat.
Oh my
I'm
god.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, you're right. He's really strong. He's been very up and down.
He's playing very badly this
He's
season.
playing very badly, so he's not playing well so far.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to say this. This feels like the Bo Nix get right game. Like, so we're going to see, obviously, we're going to see the Chiefs win. We're going to see a Charger win, and we're going to see a Bronco win. And it's going to be a three-way dogfight for the AFC West,
No, that AFC
Just
West
like
is
we
gonna be
all,
tight.
like the one prediction everyone had was there's going to be a dogfight between those three teams, right?
Yeah.
Because I still
Yeah.
think the Chiefs have flaws too. They're not like they're
They're
looking,
not perfect, but they
you
just
know, they're
they
still
just trust
contenders.
Mahomes is usually
Right,
the
right,
answer
right,
there.
right. This feels like a Bronco demolition. I agree with you. I'm taking Denver.
Alright. Yeah, yeah. Alright, moving on, another in the 4 o'clock
Have you seen
slate.
the total of this game?
That is very high. That is college-like levels of high numbers of the Commanders-Cowboy game here. Dallas is now 1.5 point favorites. This line has been moving and schmoving, because the Commanders are quite injured. No Terry McLaurin once again, and also no Deebo Samuel. So that's why I picked up Chris Moore, and I'm going to start him. But like Chris Moore, Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey as the three receivers that Jaden Daniels has at his disposal. Zach Ertz is going to lean on. He's going to lean on Bill Krosky as well. It's just this is an interesting game because the Cowboys have the worst pass defense in the NFL. Statistically, they've given up the most passing yards, most like all the sort of bad passing defense stats that you just do not want to see the Cowboys are hosting. And it feels like Jaden Daniels, when the expectations are kind of down, uh, he does seem to play well. And coming off a really tough loss to the Bears, this could be a nice bounce back spot for him. But the Cowboys are also coming off their own disappointment with a very, very rough loss to the Carolina Panthers. So I am going to take the Cowboys as like just kind of looking at it from a health perspective. The Cowboys get CeeDee Lamb back. They still got George Pickens, and their running game has been awesome. And the Commanders are down their top two receivers, and Debo has been having a great season for Washington. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas here to win, -1.5 at home.
Well, these teams had one of the craziest games of the season last year, if you recall.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
That
it
was
feels like
ridiculous.
when these two teams play, like remember when Sam Howell won his first game against the Cowboys when they're playing all their starters too?
Yeah, yeah,
It does feel like when these two teams play, it's like pure insanity. So I would not be surprised we see the same thing today.
sure.
The Commanders need a win. Cowboys need a win. I think this is why it's going to be a slugfest. I will say this. What are your thoughts on Cliff Kingsbury, year two, still being a potential head coach? Do you think it's cooled off? Do you think it's he's still going to get a lot of consideration?
I think it's cooled off in the sense of the results aren't there. Like, Jaden Daniels is hitting a sophomore slump, which, like, could be like the biggest guarantee in professional sports at this point that
Oh, I thought it was going
rookie
to be the Dodgers
quarterbacks,
winning the World Series, but
well,
yeah,
that rookie quarterbacks that have a good rookie season are just going to struggle a bit in their second year. It's just it's all the time. It's literally all the time, and I don't think I don't think the play calling is really to blame. I think Daniels is just not playing as well as he was last year. I think he's dealing with some injuries that are restricting him, and obviously the team is very injured, which is also, limiting the offense as a whole. And I think teams are going to be cognizant of that. But I think just the pure results not being great is limiting Cliff Kingsbury head coach chatter. Um, I just think there's no. I feel like if I'm him, I'm not thinking there's any rush to become a head coach. He's a pretty well paid offensive coordinator. I would wait until a good opportunity opens up. It's not like Ben Johnson levels of like everyone's foaming at the mouth for him to become a head coach, but you know, he's got a pretty decent gig going on that if you wait till next year and things are healthy and the
yeah.
Commanders look good again
I'm
on
going
offense.
I'm going to go the opposite way here. I'm taking the Commanders for a couple reasons. One, this Cowboys defense. I was thinking the other day, like, who has the worst defense in the NFL? It's
Yeah.
definitely the Dallas Cowboys because I was between like them, like Baltimore, Cincinnati, and throw another team in there, Michael. Like, it's just like atrocious.
Bad defense?
Just atrocious defense. I don't want to say Buffalo yet, but they're definitely near the bottom there.
Did you say Carolina?
Yeah, their defense is bad. No, I did not
Yeah,
say. Yeah, their defense
yeah.
is cheeks. I agree. You know what? Yeah, dude, I could honestly see like Luke McCaffrey having a monster game, and everyone's going to be like, "Well, we always talk about Christian. Like, we've never paid attention to Luke before." When it's clearly the Cowboys' defense is just terrible. Like,
Right, right, right. I mean, everyone looks good against the Cowboys defense this year,
yes,
you know,
correct.
except, well,
Yeah, we
anyways.
know. Yeah, we know.
Um,
Yeah.
Next game we have is the last 4 o'clock game. We have the Green Bay Packers on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, weird stuff going on with this game. Josh Jacobs is sick. True, genuine game time decision, they're saying. They didn't take off till like 9:30 last night Eastern Standard Time to fly out to Arizona because they've been on like a 5-hour delay because of plane issues. So a lot of shady things going on that really makes you
What do you think? The FanDuel sabotaged the plane?
maybe. But like,
Maybe.
is this all just like thinking too hard? And it's like we're talking about too many non-football things, maybe where the Green Bay Packers, like offensively, they're actually performing quite well this year. Like Jordan Love is like
Correct.
his interception rate is as low as it's been. His sack rate is very, very low. They're performing really well in like DVOA and EPA and all that good stuff. The issue is their defense, where it's like if Micah Parsons wasn't on the team, their defense would be ass, like really, really bad. And Micah Parsons does a lot of help to get some pressure and just kind of throw things off for the other team. But if you can just kind of work on your quick game and kind of nullify Micah Parsons' ability and just be able to get the ball quick and test their corners, like you're just going to have more success than not. It feels like against their defensive backs, you every one in every how many ever weeks you're going to see like Keyshawn Nixon play a really good game, but then it's just like usually just bad. But Kyler comes back, and that's been kind of a dark cloud with Arizona. I think I'm going to take Green Bay. I don't know, man. I think I'm just going to take the Packers and hope.
I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals to cover. I have a couple reasons.
Like the
So
Packers did just struggle against the Bengals. That's
this,
true.
I think this Packers team, especially no Josh Jacobs, because he is the straw that stirs the drink in that offense. You saw how much their offense took off with Jordan Love's inconsistencies last year with Josh Jacobs. Like he
Right.
was like in like the year you had Saquon and Derrick Henry have like monster seasons. Josh Jacobs' season kind of flew a little bit under the radar with how great he was.
Right.
Like in a normal year, Josh Jacobs would have won the rushing title, right?
Sure.
In a normal season.
Yeah.
No, potentially no Josh Jacobs. Like the receiver room for the Packers, like isn't like it's clearly Dobbs is the lead guy right now because of injuries, but like no one really there isn't like a clear cut
The
like
Packers have really nice receivers that all have a drop problem.
yeah.
It's like,
You know who
and it's not that they're unplayable,
like
but
if
it's
they're
like
and honestly, dude, like you see like the Cardinals right now, they're reeling, right? They start out 2-0, right? And they're what, 2-4?
yeah,
Almost won last week against the Colts.
they did almost win last week with Jacoby Brissett and the Colts.
I think they're going to I think they're going to win today. I could honestly,
Cardinals?
Michael, it's not a good sign when your best player when he's being interviewed, right, is jabbering about the Eagles tush push. He's like, that's the only thing they can do right over there.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just Micah. That's nothing new.
Yeah, but that's kind of like, but like,
No, he's a vibe killer at times for sure. Yeah, yeah.
and you're thinking like, and you're thinking if you're a Packer fan, aren't you thinking you're like, dude, like,
Dude, shut the
yeah, what if like what if like Jalen? No, that's not a good. We'll say like, what if Jalen Carter, when he was being interviewed, was like,
talking about Cam Scatterboo.
he's talking, he's like, yeah, Scatterboo. If I played against the Giants, I would have just roughed up.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Scatterboo would be running for 3 touchdowns. We would be calling him a loser, right?
Yeah. No, I
We'd call him a total
disagree.
loser, wouldn't we?
I wouldn't like it, that's for sure. No, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So I don't hate the cover there. On the Sunday night, we have the Atlanta Falcons and the San Francisco 49ers. This is so tough, dude, because the Falcons are 2.5 point underdogs coming off this wonderful win at home against the Bills on
Look,
prime
dude,
time.
they did try to like give it
Is
away.
this a trap line? Is this like a oh, how are you giving the Falcons points, dude? The 49ers stink. Like Purdy's playing, right? Like he has to be, right?
I would assume so.
I would assume
Mac
so.
Jones is like half crippled. Oh no, he's out.
He's out, dude. And I have
It'll
to sit
back.
here and think Mac Jones is the 2.5 point favorite. Oh, I can't do that. Dude, if Purdy was playing, I was going to take the Niners. I'm not kidding. So you're telling me if Brock Purdy was playing, this line would have been like 4.5? Are you serious? Dude, they were just 4.5 dogs at home to the Bills and
Well, like
won.
the Falcons are Michael. The Falcons are like a god awful road team.
Dude, they're begging me to take the Falcons plus
Like
two and
they
a
are
half.
like truly like yeah.
I
Atlanta
mean, can't they
Falcons.
just not lean on Bijan and like make it happen? The Falcons defense we actually think is good, right? Don't we think their defense is good?
I yes, their defense is good. You were
So
correct.
so what are we doing here? Like I was really
Wait a
ready to take
minute.
the
So wait
Niners.
a minute. I thought they're a bad road team. So their first road game was in Carolina where they were shut out 30-0 because
Well, they beat the Vikings on the road, right?
yeah, so that's when JJ McCarthy got soft benched for Carson Wentz.
Right.
But they haven't played a road game in like a month. So they've
And they
literally
gotta
been
go
felt
they
like
gotta
they've been
go
at home like
they
all
gotta
year.
go all the way out to the Bay Area.
I mean, here's the thing though, dude, is
Dude, the Falcons should just be really good.
doesn't this feel like this is the like if you're like the Brock Purdy camp of the Ninerdom, like or like if you're just like Brock Purdy himself, like bad Mac Jones shows up today and it's like okay, Brock's back in, like the Mac Jones experiment was fun for 2 or 3 weeks and
Right.
clearly like he's just not he's a good back like the ideal backup quarterback is somebody who can come in for 2 or 3 weeks and play competently and it doesn't cost you games. Like,
Hmm.
isn't that what
Hmm.
Mac Jones is? A competent backup quarterback,
Yeah,
not a starter.
he's gonna turn into a nice backup career for the rest of the league. Absolutely.
I think the reasoning behind this is they beat the Bills. It was a big win, but the
A
Falcons
classic
might
letdown spot.
but the Falcons might be a bit of an immature team. Like you saw, they had that sack on Allen where he fumbled and no one went to go for the ball. They were busy celebrating the sack. You know, do you recall that during the last month, this past Monday?
Yeah, no, it's I all this stuff that you're saying is completely valid. Um, I really I really agree with that. I just I'm gonna take it against my better judgment. I'm taking the Falcons, and I'm just gonna hope it's really what it is. There's nothing else to
I'm
say
taking
other.
Atlanta as well. I don't
Yeah,
really. I'm gonna trust in the Falcons here.
I'm
This is
trusting
def-
their defense.
this is a Kyle Shanahan line. This is like oh man, Raheem Morris is gonna beat Kyle Shanahan.
Right, right. We'll see. Yeah, maybe we're both wrong. We have another Monday night doubleheader, John, and like, can we figure it out? I don't know.
Woody.
And one of these games is starting at 10 p.m. because of baseball, which like I don't hate, obviously, but like my lord, what are we doing? Um,
Dude, don't you feel like they're just putting less games on Sundays now?
yes,
And it's really annoying.
yes. Like you're telling me that either one of these games couldn't have been in the 4 o'clock slate, Buccaneers, Lions, or Texans, Seahawks? Come on now.
I mean, Buccaneers Lions most certainly would have been like game of the week.
Yeah, like Tom Brady, just so excited about Baker and Goff.
Yes.
Anyways, early slate, early Monday night game. Big line, big line. Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Detroit to take on the Lions. Lions are 6-point favorites. My lord, everyone is taking Tampa to cover the spread.
I'm taking the Lions outright.
Dude, I'm taking the Lions to cover as well because Tampa, like, is Evans playing? They get Evans back, but he's not
Evans is more
100%.
likely to play today than Igbuka, from what I read. Igbuka is
Right.
going to test it most like because he's a rookie,
There's
and
no reason.
there really isn't a reason. I agree.
No Ibuka,
Even though this
and
game does have major tiebreaker implications for both teams, right?
yeah, no Ibuka, no Bucky Irving still, which that's a huge loss of them. And even when he was playing, like it felt like it feels like Tampa's not running the ball as successfully as they had in previous years. They're really relying on Baker hero ball that's been carrying them at this point. And like sometimes that can
But we
just
have to say this about Detroit, though.
they're
I'm gonna
very injured.
sorry. We have to say this about it because it's a fact. When they're playing bad teams, and Michael, the Buccaneers are not a bad football team. They're 5-1. When they play, they're banged up. They're not a bad football team. When the Lions play bad football teams, they front
I'm
run the
trying to
whole game.
think what do you think Dan Campbell's record is following a loss?
Let's ask Stat Muse. Dan Campbell's. It's probably skewed because he took him like 3 months to win his first game.
That's a good question. Like in 20
Okay, so this is Google AI. Following a
no,
week
well,
two loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
I'm not believing this one.
this is following a week loss to Tampa Bay and Buccaneers in 2022. The Lions won 11 consecutive games, a franchise record. Dan Campbell himself says that losing fuels him and the team as they focus on getting back to basics after a defeat. While the team has struggled in Campbell's first season, they've shown consistent ability to rebound from losses since then, with the team's performance. Yeah,
Get this garbage out of here.
yeah.
My
All
my
right,
thought was just like the
so
Lions after a loss, they get all gritty and kneecap bitey and they win. So I'm gonna
this
take
feels like
Detroit.
this feels like a Lions like gloat job win. Like, yeah, you know,
Flex their muscles. We're the best team in the NFC. That sort of stuff. Yeah, no, I hear you. Oh boy, Trevor Lawrence. Yeesh. Dude, looks like we shouldn't have picked the Jets.
Is they're just playing like dog water?
I mean, it's 14-0 Rams. Lawrence is running around for his life with sloppy weather. Nothing, no passes are being completed downfield. Jared Verse just absolutely destroyed the right tackle, and Landman just got a sack. It's really something here. Next game we have is the legal formation. The Jags are just a mess. So we're both taking Detroit to cover the 6. Final game, actually not the final game. We still got to talk about the Eagle game. Next game we have 10 p.m. kickoff, Monday night doubleheader in Seattle. The Texans are heading out there to play the Seahawks. Dude, the Seahawks are good, and actually, the Texans might not be as awful as we think. I recently heard about some stats that kind of favor Houston a bit. Especially their defense. Obviously, we know their defense is good, but it's like when you look at their season from like a bird's eye view, what do you see? You see 3 losses to playoff teams by 1 score, right? And then you see 2 wins of utter blowouts against like the garbage of the NFL. And when you think about it, losing to playoff teams by, you know, 1 possession, John, that's not the end of the world, right? Like losing to a playoff team by 1 possession, that's fine. And then blowing out bad teams, that's a good sign. So being able to kind of do that shows me the Texans maybe don't totally blow. But all that being said, I do think the Seahawks are actually a good team. They weirdly struggle at home. We very weirdly struggle at home. But
Especially 10, 12 years ago, how they had the best home field
oh
advantage
my
in the
God, it
NFL.
wasn't even, yeah, absolutely. So I am going to take Seattle though, but I would be cautiously taking them to cover. I could very much see this being like a 4-point win for the
This,
Seahawks.
so I think my theory, this is my hypothesis. I think the Texans are starting to figure out their new offense. And
Right.
I think the bye week really,
Is
really
going to help that.
helps that out because they can iron out their issues. Here's the truth, though. I think their schemes are pretty good. Like CJ Stroud was cooking his last game. Michael, the O line is still really bad. Like,
Mhm.
is it playing better than last year? Like, yes, yeah, yes, because that's not very hard to do.
Not by much, though.
Not by much, right?
It's probably about the same.
Dude, Seattle's got some dogs on the D line that no one ever talks about.
Mhm.
You
I mean,
know,
Leonard Williams is, like, been doing this for a while and is still doing it, you know?
like, but Murphy,
Byron Murphy, yep.
like,
Not
you
Byron
know,
Murphy. Whatever
right?
Murphy, not Byron. But, no, I agree. The Seahawks defense is good. Mike McDonald's got them boys playing hard, and I like Darnold, man. Darnold is good. He's got some juice. So
I think Darnold might be due for a down game today,
it's fair enough. Fair
especially
enough.
against a
Listen,
team.
he's definitely prone. He's definitely susceptible
Like this
to.
is like I think this is like a tough matchup for like JSN. Like he's been cooking as
Mhm.
well. He could still have a big game. I do think though, like with the Texans defense is still like a really good defense. I'm taking the Texans on the road.
Well, listen, don't hate it.
I think we're gonna see a like if you're a Nico
Don't hate it.
Collins owner in fantasy, I think he's gonna have a monster game today. I
That'd
kind of
be
get
awesome.
that vibe.
Don't hate it.
Okay,
We've been
last
avoiding it
but
for
not
long
least.
enough. The Philadelphia Eagles are in Minnesota to take on Carson Wentz and the Vikings. The Eagles are 1.5-point favorites. That should tell you a lot
Two Eagles
alone.
quarterbacks with Super Bowl rings.
Awesome. I don't know why people are acting like this is the first time we've played Wentz. It's just not.
That was a
Like,
media creation because
that's what I'm saying. What
realistically,
are they on about? Did they forget? Like, I actually think they forgot.
well, as you've probably have noticed, that there's a certain ESPN reporter, whose name rhymes with Druana Marcini. They will remain nameless.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they're
she's a big
definitely
time
trying to
shit
use the
stirrer
Eagles
right
to get
there.
tons of clicks, and they're trying to drum up interest in this game because I think it's bizarre how like the national media, like people who are non-Eagles fans have pointed this out. They're like, I see people quit like who are like, I don't even root for the Eagles, nor do I like them. But I find it very bizarre how you're actively rooting against them when you
Yes,
shouldn't have. We shouldn't be biased.
absolutely not. Absolutely. So
I'm going with
Jalen
the Eagles,
Carter,
Mike. I'm going to go for the Eagles for a couple reasons here. One, I feel like this Eagles defense is due to have a massive turnover breakout game.
I mean, they're getting healthier. Jalen Carter's going to play. Quinyon Mitchell's going to play, which like kind of worries me a little bit. Feels like it's hard for a hamstring injury to be a 1 week thing. Um, Maybe they were just very cautious with the turf, but I didn't think he looked those practice clips, while albeit just clips, didn't look super encouraging. I hope they're not just throwing him out
I
there because
honestly
they
think
think they need it.
I
You
have
know what
this
I
weird
mean?
feeling that the Eagles were just not taking that game seriously last Thursday.
I think to an extent, but they just weren't in a position to do that, and, like, the only way you can afford to do that is if you come out today and, like, really step on their throat. John, I wanted to take the Vikings all week because I'm very, very upset with what I'm seeing from the football team. Um, I'm very, very low on the offense. I'm concerned about the health of the defense, but it is getting healthier, so I do think they shouldn't be getting totally torched by Wentz. Um But I fear for the offense. I worry about the offense against Brian Flores. Is he going to be able to I mean, the Jags just had a punt return touchdown that's gonna get wiped back from a penalty. So that's how the game's going for the Jags. But I is the offense gonna be better today? Because that's really what it is. I can trust the defense all I want, and that was what was holding me back from fully being in on the Vikings to win today. But is the offense going to be good enough to sustain some drives? Like, the Vikings, where they're good is they're very good at pass rush, and that kinda makes their whole passing defense good, but where they struggle, they don't have a great run defense. They give up, like, the
No,
21st most yards per carry,
you saw what Judkins was
21st
doing
or
to them in London,
right, so, like, are we finally gonna get
and
Saquon
and
unleashed today?
Kenny Gainwell.
Like, dude, you're telling me they can't open up some goddamn holes for Saquon today to have a nice day?
It really
I'm with
does
you,
feel.
John. I'm
It
taking
does.
the I'm taking the Eagles. I'm a homer.
The vibe definitely feels like if they don't come up with. This is my take on today's game.
They keep having these inner circle meetings with the offense, like,
This is what thing's
God.
gonna happen. No, this is the way this feels like it's really gonna be of two extremes today. Either the Eagles are gonna drop, like it's gonna feel like the Detroit game in 2021 where the offense is gonna explode, or it's gonna be like 2023 where we score like 10 points and we're gonna be enraged.
Dude, the things I would do for the offense to, like, shock me post Raiders loss, like, where we had no hope and they just absolutely railed the Lions. Like, oh my god, the things I would do for an Eagles blowout today are just, would I'd feel so much better about everything if they blew out the Vikings
I
today.
do. I don't know, like Craig Carton, who's his hyperbole we mentioned
He's the
earlier.
biggest Eagles
He
hater, like,
he
in
claimed that the Eagles are going to
America.
fire Patullo if they have a bad offensive game today, but I think
I
that feels almost like a. I'm going to say something extreme that could happen because like the vibe of the team is they all seem to. The point of frustration all seems to be Kevin Patullo for the players, like for like I would think for Jalen Hurts,
fan base. No, sure,
AJ
sure.
Brown, like AJ, like they're trying to build this AJ Brown like Jalen Hurts feud, where let's say even if they weren't friends before, they both dislike the offensive coordinator.
They're just frustrated, and especially AJ, as just, like, competitors that, like, are well aware of how talented the team is and how good they should be, and are frustrated with the fact that they kinda suck. Like, that's what they're frustrated about. So, I don't know. What are they to do? They need to just break out of it, and it's like, this is a really good opportunity to get a good win where your defense drives you and your offense does enough, and then it sets you up where you really need to handle the Giants next week coming off the last time you lost them. You really gotta beat the Giants down, and then, you're in your bye week and you can reset. But, I had this fear after the Denver game, definitely had this fear after the Giant game that what if they just really suck through the bye? And that would be frustrating, and I don't think that's a 0% chance of happening. So, we will see. We will be seeing in a few hours today, but I guess we'll both take the Eagles. You're, I think, a little more bullish, because I had the Vikings written down, and then I was like, "You know what? I can't do that in my
See,
own
this
heart
is
of
what I
hearts."
think they should do. If you want to negate the chaos defense, though, this is kind of how you negate it: is you run
Mhm.
hurry up. You don't let them substitute because the Vikings have one of the deepest defensive rosters, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah. It's
And
not
they,
like super they have their top-heavy pass rusher, but it's deep, yeah.
right? How do you negate that? You run hurry. You run tempo.
Mhm. The Eagles really should come out and run tempo early, like,
I think they should just run tempo as much as they
pretty much the
possibly
whole
can.
game. Yeah, no, I agree.
They
There's
send them.
obviously strategic stuff that they should be doing differently, but tempo can be just a good start on, 1, not having to worry about coming out of the huddle too slow because that's a legitimate issue that they have. Um, and yeah, so
That's
we'll
it.
see. We'll see. That's our show, everybody.
That's our show, everybody.
We will be back, I don't know, some point in the week, maybe
Sure.
not the midweek show. We'll see. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Hopefully the Eagles can get a win today and we can all feel a little bit better about the football team. But
Hope so.
until
Anyway,
then,
that's our show,
thanks for
everybody.
tuning in.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.